So where do we want to get started with the whole Melbourne debrief?
Another shrimp on the barbie.
Shrimp on the bobby. Because this was the first, like I said last episode, this was kind of like the litmus test to see where we're all going to be at
Yeah.
for the remainder of the calendar, and I think we got some extremely valuable data. I guess starting off from like the practice sessions, it was looking like Mercedes was kind of lagging behind because they were sandbagging even in the practice sessions. It wasn't until like qualifying that George was like, all right, time to lock in. No, it was like at the very end of free practice 3 and then qualifying, George was like, all right, time to actually crank the pace to normal mode. And then he just fucking flew. He was flying through Melbourne. Kimi Antonelli too. The fact that Kimi ended up in P2 for like the end of the race just shows that like it's a car thing. Like the car is clearly a fucking X-wing.
Oh yeah.
I'm so fucking here for it. But Ferrari's not far behind Mercedes at all, actually, either, as we saw either. Like they were fighting each other pretty much the entire race. I thought it was like insane. I was like gnawing at my nails watching them just like go at it, because I guess what George said in the the post in the cool down room basically is that they had 0% battery life starting on the grid. I don't know how you do that, but apparently also Charles Leclerc said that he had about like 20% battery life in his car on the starting grid. So I think that's kind of strange. What do you think about that?
I mean, that does strike me as a little bit strange, right? Especially considering where they ended up at the end of the race. I'm like, whoa, okay. But for Charles Leclerc only having 20% battery life in the beginning of the race on the grid, man, he flew. I mean, flew through the pack. Immediately grabbed P1, which I was here for. You should have been there when I saw that. I was like,
oh yeah.
I agree with your point that I really do feel like Mercedes was sandbagging during the first 2 free practices, and then free practice 3, and then qualifying they really turned on the afterburners. That thing is a jet. That thing's a rocket. Like,
yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm not going to say I was surprised because Mercedes is Mercedes. But I was kind of surprised at the gap, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They took that lead and they ran with it. Well, towards the end of the race, after Ferrari decided not to pit. But
yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. What's crazy is that they don't regret it, which I think is like I don't understand that. Fred Vasseur and Charles both said publicly that they don't regret not pitting under that VSC. Forget who caused it actually. I think it was like one of the Cadillacs. No. That was the second VSC. It was. Dude, we had like 5 DNFs. We had like 5 DNFs.
Yes, like literally before half of the race was over, we had 5 DNFs.
So somebody in that crowd DNF'd and caused the VSC. Ferrari didn't pit, and they don't regret it. And that literally cost them like a competitive advantage. Like that cost them, I think, the race. They probably could have won the race if they like pulled a George and Kimi strat and like actually pit on time. Because it's a free pit stop. A safety car is a free pit stop.
Yeah, and they were like, "No, we'll get ahead of the curve, and we have fresh enough tires. We could still maintain a lead." But by the time they had to pit, the lead was gone. They couldn't crawl back from it, especially because they pitted him 4 hards. Like, I know a lot of other people were on hards, but come on.
Well, I don't think softs was going to be the move, at least for a while. Like maybe after the second VSC, because we had like maybe 15, 20 laps left. Okay, yeah, maybe softs, but Valtteri was literally blocking the pit lane, so you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even pit the second VSC.
I know, that was so unfortunate because the strategists were like, okay, if there's another VSC, we'll pit. And Bottas was just blocking the pit lane, and it's like, come on. And by the time they got to the corner to actually be able to pit, the pit lane closed.
Yeah.
Brother.
Lewis Hamilton was the only person to like actually speak up about it. So on the radio, he was pretty much like, "Guys, I think that was a shit decision for us to not like pit." And Ferrari didn't really like give much of a response to that, if at all. Like, I don't remember them even responding to that radio message.
And I do want to speak about this. I absolutely love how outspoken Lewis Hamilton is, especially when he like notices some bullshit. He calls it out. He's like, "Guys, what are we doing? Like, this is a stupid decision. This is a stupid move. What are we doing?" Now, if only we could get a team that would actually listen to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Since the start of last year, like, I mean, we had that whole Elkan scandal because of Lewis Hamilton choosing not to be silent and like speak up about the problems that like they're encountering. I appreciate that about Lewis for sure. It's a double-edged sword though, because now he's like, after the race, he was kind of like shit talking Mercedes. His team that he won 6 out of his 7 championships with. He's got a big mouth, for better or for worse. I think in the terms of like Ferrari and like trying to push the team further, it works for them.
Yeah, and like you said, he does have a big mouth, and that it's helpful in some areas, but like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Helpful in some areas, hurtful in others. Shit talking the team you won like all of your championships with, maybe not the best idea in the world.
Yeah, it kind of shocked me because like he got like so like the anonymity that he like was displaying on that interview towards Mercedes, like it kind of shocked me because like he was very close with this team. Like I followed him, not like extremely closely, but I followed him enough with Mercedes to know that like the team and him were like this. And yeah, dude, he's over here talking about like, I just don't understand why their cars are so fast. We need to get the FIA involved in this to see if they have like an illegal engine and like all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, what are you bitching about?
He wants to break the record. He wants his championship.
Yeah, I guess so. But if he stayed with Mercedes, he would be getting it this year. Guaranteed. I guarantee it.
Dude, to bring it back around to DNFs. So I'm sorry for the Oscar Piastri fans, but your boy did not cook. He crashed in the reconnaissance lap before the...
I found out what Sorry, I just said I found out what a reconnaissance lap was on race day because Oscar Piastri crashed during it. I didn't even know they did that. I didn't know there was one 30 minutes before the race. I thought like the formation lap, I thought that was like their like recon lap, but no, they have a recon lap. So I'm like, how the fuck do you fuck that up?
It's like you're not even pushing the car to pace. You're not even really warming the tires up at this point. That's what the formation lap's for.
Yeah.
You can't push the car to pace. Well, I mean, you can, but like, there's no point. You're just wasting more fuel that way. Like I don't understand. Make it make sense, and I felt so bad because I saw the crash, and I'm like, dude, before the formation lap, like, you were fighting for a title championship last year, and now this. What?
Dude, it's embarrassing too because it's his home race that he just completely fucked up. He had a whole section of grandstands just decked out in Oscar Piastri merch.
It's the hometown curse, man. I'm telling you, it's the hometown curse.
Yeah, that seems to be like a trend with F1 drivers and like their home Grand Prix. They just like can't, for whatever reason, like keep it together or win it if they do keep it together. Yeah, no. Andrea Stella, it was leaked online or something, that Andrea Stella read the data and said that Oscar crashed because it was a combination of him going over the curb, wheel spin, and cold tires, and that's what made him crash into a wall.
I definitely saw the wheel spin whenever he went over the curb, and then once he got down from the curb, the tires couldn't get any traction, and then just, you know. And I was explaining all this to my little sister, because she's like, "Wait, why did he crash?" I'm like, "Let me see." And I was like watching the playback. I was like, like,
Yeah. Yeah, I just think he gave it because like corners like that, like rumble strips and stuff like that, they're like low traction zones, and like I just think if Oscar stopped applying throttle there, or at least a little bit less throttle, probably would have been okay. But like when you saw that car, it was kind of like porpoising almost. It was literally like,
yeah, I noticed that it was up and down. I was like, "Oh, okay."
yeah. So it was already kind of like upset, and then before you know it, it just like the all of those things just bunched into one. So that's gonna be embarrassing for Piastri.
Yeah, but there is hope at the end of the tunnel because Norris got P6.
Oh yeah, that's all right for McLaren.
It's all right for McLaren, but like I know everyone at McLaren expected Norris to really fight, and just not there. His pace wasn't there, and I'm super happy about it.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled about it too because it just shows that he's not deserving of a championship. Like without a competitive car, he's nothing. Well, not nothing, but I mean, he's clearly not championship material.
He's still got more skill than me.
He's got more skill than, you know, the other 16 drivers that he was racing against today, or not today, but on Saturday. But at the same time, he wasn't really competitive enough to attack him during the race. He defended against Max, but at the same time, it wasn't because his defense was like out of this world. If you actually listened to like Max and got like Red Bull's perspective about the whole thing, Max's battery was just like not working. Like you like Team Video, and he's literally like this, like the battery's not fucking working again. So he didn't have like the battery capacity he needed to overtake.
Yeah, you did cut out a little bit there, but I got what you were saying. His battery capacity wasn't there. It wasn't working how it should have, and he just didn't have the pace.
You know, I'm talking about Max, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No. So, that being said, though, I guess circling back to McLaren, two things. I find it really interesting that when they interviewed Zach Brown about Oscar's performance during the recon lap, Zach didn't even talk to Oscar about it. Like, the team didn't even like talk to Oscar about the whole thing. I find that strange. I find that really weird. Like,
man,
almost like he's like ostracized at McLaren or something, because when Kimi had his crash during FP3, while they were repairing the car and working like tirelessly to repair this car that got like Swiss cheesed, you've seen the video. Like Toto is literally like with Kimi reviewing the footage, and they're like asking him, and he's like, "Hey, have you like taken the curb that aggressive before?" And he's like, "No, I haven't taken it." He's like, "Okay, well, keep the confidence. Just like, you know, change this." But McLaren, they didn't even talk to Oscar about it, which I just think it's really weird. Something's going on at the McLaren camp. Something we're gonna have to do some investigating on. Also, another thing going on at the McLaren camp is they're a Mercedes customer for their engines, and they are dissatisfied with the, I guess, service Mercedes has given them. Because I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think they're like Andrea Stella has said something about like not being happy about like the development of the car. Like they were supposed to kind of like co-develop the car, like have a say in like how the engine is developed, and they just weren't given much like they weren't able to like really give their input on like where the Mercedes engine was going, and they feel like they've been left out a lot of data, and they're like upset about it.
No,
But
you're
like,
absolutely right on that. I remember seeing that where Andrea Stella was complaining. He's like, we were supposed to have more input on the power unit and on the car, and we don't. Um,
yeah,
you know, I don't know if I mean obviously Mercedes is gonna look out for number one, which is Mercedes, and they're gonna look out for themselves. Because at the end of the
hmm
day, you're still a competitor. You're still a rival. It doesn't matter if you're buying your power unit from them. You're still their rival. They still want to beat you. So I guess it does kind of make sense that they are withholding information, possible diagnostic information or performance information. I don't think it's right per se, but I understand why they're doing it.
yeah. I mean, you have to look at it from like, there's two perspectives on this, right? At one perspective, you're selling engines to another team. You want to make your customer, the team, happy. So you want to give them as much as possible
Yeah.
about the engine that you're selling. And if you say that they can have input on how the engine is developed, well, then you should be giving them input on how the engine's developed. So to go back on your word on that, if that's what Mercedes did promise, that is fucked up on Mercedes' part.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, like that's from like a customer seller perspective. Like I think I would be pissed too. Um, and people in F1, all the teams and the drivers are very vocal about like their displeasures against other teams and drivers because like that's just how the sport's conducted. Um, so I don't necessarily blame Stella for being upset about it and like being vocal about it, but at the same time, this is your competitor and you have your own R&D team. So you already functionally have been using the Mercedes power units. You have an entire team of like 1,000 people at your disposal. You're telling me that none of them can figure out what the hell is going on with this engine and its performance metrics. Like you're just like completely blind and you don't know what the hell's going on and you're just gonna get pissed off and cross your arms about it. Like,
Well,
really?
one thing I did see is there, and it was a good point that was brought up. Without that information they would have gotten from Mercedes, they're being more reactionary. They're being more reactive instead of proactive, which is not what they want. They want to be proactive, but they have to look at all the data after the fact. And it
Mm-hmm.
was, obviously they did a bunch of testing, right, which should have cleared up a lot of these issues. But it is the first race of the season. I think we're going to see, we might see McLaren get a little bit better as they have more data, because obviously Mercedes isn't willing to help them in that aspect. So yeah, I thought that was a good point that was brought up. Is they're being reactionary, they're being reactive instead of proactive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And you make a good point too, because it's like if they were, CC'd on the emails, so to speak, they already know about the performance metrics of the car and they wouldn't have to like figure it out themselves. And then that way they could move forward instead of trying to figure out what Mercedes already knows. So that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, so maybe McLaren did get the shaft on this. Maybe I'm being too judgmental because I'm a Mercedes fan and I'm kind of biased.
Yeah. It's okay to have biases.
Yeah, that's my bias. But putting out all the information on the table like this, I'm like, oh shit. Wait a minute. Oh no, they got kind of fucked.
Well, if McLaren's getting shafted, Williams is getting pounded.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started on Williams. I have not brought up Williams once this season because I don't even want to start that shit.
I mean, just just their issues in the practicing and in the race. I'm kind of blown away, because I feel bad. I feel bad for Williams. I really do, because they're a historic team. They have a bunch of they really have a good history to them, and I really thought this year was going to be better for them. I really did.
Yeah, well, we saw the metrics, we saw the data. I mean, Williams was like soaring through like the charts as far as like their performance metrics were going. Like they were killing it. And as soon as the new regulations hit, all of a sudden it's just like back to zero.
Yep, it's back to the drawing board on this one, boys.
Yeah, I was thinking about buying some Williams merch. I'm not really considering that as much anymore.
I'm
I'm
not
just like,
thinking.
bro,
I'm not thinking about that anymore.
They've been taking one step forward and two steps back at the Williams camp, dude. I'm disappointed because I was really like hopeful for them. The first time I think I actively spoke about Williams in like a positive light was, I think it was like right before the Mexico race on this podcast. And I'm like, guys, you should be rooting for Williams. They're on the come up. They proved me wrong immediately. I watched Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon just fuck up. I think Carlos's engine got caught on fire and Albon's crashed into a fucking like wall somewhere.
Yep.
So I'm like, I guess, bro.
I guess, bro. But in happier news, we were both eating this race because our two golden boys were fighting it out.
Yes.
Oh.
George Russell, my goat. Charles Leclerc, your goat. Both of them were just overtake. They were just battling it out. Charles got a podium at the end of it. George won. So I think we're both pretty happy about those results.
I'm super happy that Charles got a podium for the first race of the season. You know, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, he's gonna win the championship, right? Because I mean, yes, Ferrari is good this year. Where I think it's safe to say, and I know I'm gonna regret this later because this is gonna be like 3 races down the line, Ferrari's just gonna nosedive. But I'm saying this right now, Ferrari's good this year, guys. Ferrari's good this year. I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, but I even predicted, and I didn't tell you this, but there's this influencer we both follow, Jada on the Grid. She put on her story. She's like, "Oh, do you have any predictions for the race?" And I slid up and I was like, "Well, I think George and Kimi are going to get P1, P2, and I think Charles Leclerc is going to get P3." Saying that a little bit hopefully. And I called it. I called that shit. And I was like, I should have bet on it. I should have bet on it.
Dude, I didn't know you made that prediction. What the fuck? You made like the prediction. Like,
yeah, that's
what happened.
I literally called it. I was like, and that's why I was like, not only was I excited for Charles Leclerc to get his first podium of the season in the first race, because that's really hopeful for Ferrari for this year. But I called the actual just podium. I was like, and I regret not betting on it. I was like, I should have bet money on this. By the way, at the end of the season, it looks like you're probably going to get $50 from me because Cadillac just
Tell them to bring me my money.
I mean, Valtteri Bottas, like we talked about it earlier, how he was like clogging up the pit lane. I saw the footage. His car just stopped working. It just stopped.
Yeah, the engine just shat itself. Like, you could hear the revs just slowly climbing down.
And then the lights on the steering wheel were just going on. And I was like, oh. Oh. Cadillac, what are you doing?
Dude, that was the thing that was the point I was trying to make. Like, it's going to be their first year, dude. Like, they're not going to be, like, it's a very rare thing for, like, teams to just come out of the gate and just like start coming out swinging. In like F1 history, there's only been like one team to do that. Otherwise, like they usually start out pretty shit. I think Valtteri lost his left mirror. Checo lost his right mirror during the practice sessions.
I saw that and I was dying laughing. I was like, guys, how do you spent literal years trying to get to this point, to design this car, to race in F1, and you can't even put glue on the mirror? Like, you can't even put good glue on the mirrors? Are we serious?
That's GM quality, baby. Forget who we're dealing with here.
That's GM quality, baby.
I mean, it's true, but it's also like, it's their first year. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Even if they meet the regulations, they're just following like instructions. That doesn't mean they actually understand where to extract more performance yet, because they've never done it.
Yeah.
It's like you building a Lego set. It's like, okay, great. I have the instructions to build like this Lego Ferrari, but like, how do I make it faster at this point? Like, how do I make this like actually go faster? I don't fucking know. I built it, but I don't know how to improve it. I just know the instructions to build it. That's kind of like how it works with a new team on the grid like this. So that's like I think the most accurate way I can kind of like describe what like how this is going.
I was so hopeful too. I was like, yeah, guys. And you could probably pull up the clip from a few episodes ago. I was like, yeah, guys, listen. My thoughts are they've had years to work on this. They've had years to perfect it and design it. Most of these other teams, they're starting like mid-season 2025. I was wrong.
Brother.
I was dead wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna splice these clips together now that I got you saying that live.
I was dead wrong. I admit my mistake.
Yeah. You know who else had years to develop their car and are doing disgustingly bad? Aston Martin. They had years too. Look at them. They risk having nerve damage to their fucking drivers. They had years to develop too.
I also feel bad for Fernando Alonso. He's like, guys, I'm getting literal nerve damage from this car, and they're like, but race.
But you wanna stay out?
Guys, I'm getting literal nerve damage from the car. Can I box? No, Fernando. Yeah, you need to stay out. For at least the rest of the race.
No, I mean you could box, but why don't you come back out afterwards too?
So we're gonna box for hards. Box for hards. Guys, I just said I'm getting nerve damage. Yeah, box for hards. Yeah.
Guys, the engine blew up. Copy. Push.
Push. Yeah, you got plenty of good pace there, Fernando. Just push.
Dude, I don't even know if Aston Martin's gonna finish this weekend's race either. I don't think they are. I think it's gonna be another shit show on their end.
I mean, what they had. So Fernando Alonso DNF'd. Stroll was like 15 laps behind everyone at one point.
Mm-hmm. Wow, damn, 15 laps?
15 laps. That hasn't happened since like the 60s. I think he's the second person to have ever. I want to say he was just like the second person to have ever been like that behind the grid and still racing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, brother, at that point, just go into the pit and pack it up. Yeah. Get out of here.
Pack it up, Monk.
Like,
no, that's awful. Yeah. Yeah. So we had both the Astons retire. We had a Cadillac retire. Nico Hulkenberg retired because there's an engine issue. Oscar Piastri retired. I think that was everybody. And then I think Hajar ended up crashing and retired.
Yes, he did. He ended up crashing.
So that's like six retirements. Jesus Christ.
And this is the first race of the season.
Yeah, first race of the season. Jesus Christ. I get it's the first year of new regs, and there's always going to be like some growing pains, but like, guys, holy fuck.
These aren't just growing pains; they're growing wounds. Like,
yes, dude. Verstappen had a software issue during qualifying too. So basically, something with like the car's like recharging unit for like the battery. It was a little too aggressive, so it basically like made the rear brakes like lock up, and Verstappen just fucking sent it into a wall.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, no.
Surprised he actually ended up hitting the wall because like the announcer said, like usually you see Max like he'll slide out, but he'll like do a 180 or a 360 and get it right back on track. No, he was out.
Yeah, like I said this a couple episodes ago, but like the more experienced drivers, they're gonna have a tough time adjusting. I mean, it seems like Charles Leclerc and George Russell didn't have that tough of a time.
Yeah.
But
But you have to be aware that like that wasn't on Max though. That
it
was literally
wasn't.
like a software issue. Like the
Okay.
car literally like forced the brakes um on Max's car. Like basically
Mm.
like on like a road car, it's like the equivalent of like the handbrake just being pulled and like not being able to like do anything
Oh,
about it.
okay. Now I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like the handbrake pulled itself and he literally just like he couldn't do shit.
Hmm.
It had nothing to do with the new regs. It had nothing to do with like Max's skill. It literally was just like the car literally tried to kill itself on purpose.
Hate to see it. Hate to see it.
Yeah. He made a disgusting comeback though. And it's like just another Tuesday for him because he started at the back of the grid, like P20, made it all the way up to like what, P7?
I think.
Or he might have been P22 because I think he gained like 16 positions. I'll look at it right now. He's on Red Bull's Instagram. All right, Red Bull Racing. Because it always posts their like positions. Hold on. So Verstappen got the fastest lap. He
Ooh.
made it into P6. So Lando must have been P5 then, actually. So
Okay.
he gained 15 positions. He started in P20 and made it to P6. That's what it says.
And that's crazy. That's a crazy comeback right there. I mean, again, just a regular Tuesday for Max Verstappen because he's that guy. But anyone else, that'd be a crazy comeback.
Yeah, like we'd be shocked if it was literally anybody else, but like Verstappen is just consistently so fucking skilled that we're just like, oh, yeah, 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 I saw that
Yeah,
coming. Yeah,
yeah, that's fair. I'm not even surprised.
pull the Chucky on us again, once again.
Now I'm surprised you didn't get P4.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get on the podium. And it's, the only reason why he didn't get on the podium was because he had the battery issue once again. Like that's why he couldn't overtake Lando. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of reliability issues over anything. I think the veteran drivers have adapted to it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as fans, like I was kind of like hot around the collar for a little bit hearing about these new regulations during testing because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't seem as exciting as like I initially thought. Like this might actually be like a snooze fest. This might be like really lame.
Yeah.
No, it turns out it's actually quite the opposite. It's fucking amazing. We went from having last year in Australia, all the drivers combined, right?
Mm-hmm.
45 overtakes across the whole race. This
Wow.
year, do you know how many overtakes we had this year?
How many?
120. So over double.
Damn.
That's pretty cool, right?
That's really cool.
That helps us eat as fans.
I love me a good overtake, especially. We were on F1 last night because we were playing the F1 game. I actually have my steering wheel right here. We were playing the F1 game last night, and I was even talking. I was like, I love me a good switchback. Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
just the amount of technical skill you need to have to intentionally do a switchback and do it correctly. That takes some skill. Like I've done one accidentally, and I even felt like the man after that. I was like, man, that was sick. But like to be able to actually lock in and be like, okay, I need to do a switchback here. Why don't I just, that takes a lot of skill.
And that's just one type of overtake
That's just one type
across
of overtake. Yeah.
across the whole like spectrum of racecraft. So it's the fact that we have the potential for these cars to do way more overtakes instead of just like having like the one straightaway for DRS or like the two straightaways for DRS zones where all the overtakes happen. I think we're eating as fans, honestly. It's great.
Because now we have boost mode, overtake button, and straight mode,
Yep.
where you're totally eating as
I'd be
fans.
Yeah, we got the active arrow and stuff, which is really cool. Speaking of that, Ferrari is debuting. It's called the Macarena Wing. Who the fuck named it that?
Hey,
Actually,
Macarena.
actually, dude, I actually forgot how the Macarena goes. Thank you for reminding me. That makes sense because yeah, okay, that makes sense. So this weekend, Ferrari is debuting the Macarena wing in action. We saw it in testing, but they're gonna start using it.
I'm so
How do you
excited.
feel about that?
I am so excited for this. I, I used to pray for times like this. Because we even said we reported on it a couple episodes ago. As much as 8/10 faster. Like that wing can make it as much as 8/10 faster, something like that. It was a fractional, but still like a decent fraction.
Well, 8 to 10 tenths is like nothing to.
Nothing to sneeze at. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot in F1 terms. Like that's a very generous amount of pace that you're extracting.
I know,
Um,
and it's like, yeah, boy. Yeah, I'm super excited
actually,
to see it in action in actual race pace, in a
yeah,
racing setting. Oh,
I really think Ferrari is going to win at China. I'm feeling it. I think they're going to win here at China. That's my prediction. That's like taking my ego out of this. I think they're going to win in China.
Ferrari 1-2 at China.
It's not a meme anymore.
It's not a meme anymore.
Ferrari comeback arc needs to be studied for real, for real.
Until something happens, and then the strategists are clowns yet again.
Oh yeah, no, I can't wait for that. You know, I'm gonna give you shit about that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, see, you fix the car, good. Now change your fucking strategists.
Change your fucking strategist. I think that's the only thing keeping them from a title,
That's the only thing
the
keeping them from achieving greatness.
from breaking the curse.
Breaking the curse.
They have good car, good drivers. We're missing the one thing left.
We're missing. We just need strategy.
Strategy. Literally, dude. Oh my god. Hopefully they can get that sorted out. I think right now, Charles and Lewis are sharing a race engineer, if I'm not mistaken.
I did hear about that, or I remember hearing something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because Ricardo Adami got removed and put into F2 where he belongs, and well, he belongs in like karting as a race engineer. But I don't know if it's still like that. But last I heard, like they're sharing a race engineer, which is not optimal because you have one racing engineer looking at like two drivers' data when they usually only look at one. That's not
Yeah.
optimal. I'll say that.
That's a lot to manage and to keep track of. That is a lot, especially at the that fast of a pace. You have to give direction, like you have to give strategies out like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
So I don't know his name or her name, but whoever is the strategy, the race engineer looking after both Charles and Hamilton. Good on you. I could never.
yeah. Because you have to understand that they're not just looking at like the TV pod cam. They're analyzing data. Like we're talking about aerodynamic data, brake temperature, oil temperature, battery life. They're looking at the tire deck, tire wear, tire heat. They're looking at like all the components of the engine. They're looking at like what's like how the recharge rate is going, and a million other engineering terms that like I'm not even aware about. And that's just for one car. So
Yeah.
imagine trying to do that with two cars. I don't think the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, it doesn't even sound like it's like something you could do as a race engineer to overlook both drivers. But that's something I'm definitely going to look into.
Yeah. Because that's insane to me that you could look at all that data on the fly and make decisions. And just for one car, like that is insane to me. So if you're trying to do that for two cars, oof, like whatever this person's getting paid, pay them double. you know?
Dead ass, dudes. Yeah, seriously. Um, for real, dude. Got some interesting news about Ferrari as well. Um, if you actually look at this, like the telemetry of the cars, I was watching one of the practice sessions and I saw like one of the engineers like going over this with us. But on the straights of Albert Park, Mercedes had the fastest pace out of anybody, right?
Okay.
On the turns, Ferrari had fastest pace on like pretty much any turn. All of them were
Oh.
outlined in red on the telemetry, and then it was like the teal on the straights. So that's a pretty good indicator of where we're at. Obviously, we'll get more accurate at predicting this as we get through more tracks, right? But at least right now, for like our high speed, flowy track kind of thing, I mean, Ferrari still did really fucking good, everything considering. But where they excel at better than anybody is on anything that is a turn, any kind of like turn is where they're really just killing it. So, we might be able to see maybe Charles or Lewis eat in Monaco,
I was
because
about to
that's like
say
almost all turn. You know what I mean? Like my mind went straight to Monaco.
that's
Um,
as you were saying that, my mind went straight to Monaco too. I'm like, we might see Charles win Monaco again.
yeah, yeah. But like any straight dominant track, any high speed flowy track, we could probably see Mercedes excelling at it. So maybe something like Las Vegas. If we actually end up going to Jeddah, then Jeddah as well. A couple
If
other tracks like that.
it's a big if.
It, yeah, right. So with like, I guess if y'all don't know, with like the war in like the Middle East right now with like Iran and stuff, there is talks about them maybe not doing the Bahrain race after Japan,
Yeah.
um, and the Saudi Arabia race. They're just planning on like cutting them if the conflict continues and it's like unsafe for everybody, which makes sense. It sucks, but this is kind of the cost of playing an international sport. Sometimes international conflicts happen and you can't exactly do that.
Yeah.
Soccer guys, I'm looking at you. I think at one point too, I saw some kind of rumor that they were thinking about doing like a double weekend for Suzuka. I thought that was dog shit. That was a dog shit idea. Like everybody likes Suzuka, but do we like it enough for 2 race weekends? I don't.
Mm. Yeah, I don't like Suzuka enough for 2 weekends. I like it for 1 weekend. How it should be.
Yeah.
And unless, I mean, I don't even think the drivers like it that much, low key.
Yeah. Some of them, their favorite tracks are Suzuka, but it just doesn't make sense from like a broadcasting perspective to do the same race twice. So
Yeah.
I think they're just gonna, if it's unsafe for them, we could see them just not doing those races, which sucks for fans, but um, it would be kind of an interesting challenge though for the drivers and the teams because they wouldn't have 2 more races of data, 2 more races of championship points. It would be a 22 race season instead of a 24 race season. So
Yep.
it'd be that much tighter of a season.
Yeah. Yeah. In that situation, I wonder if they would take a week off or if they would just move to the next race and then make the season itself shorter.
No, I think because you have to understand people are buying tickets in like months in advance for these races, right? Financially, it would fuck them to have to
Mm.
like move them around in like the scheduling. So the easiest way to do this is just to make those spots like Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, just cancel them outright and have just dead space.
Well, at the same time, like you brought up financials, what about all those people that bought tickets to those races? Would they refund them? And if they refunded them, that would take a big chunk out of the finances.
Well, they don't have a choice. I don't think
Yeah.
if it's that dangerous. Um, it'd be more of like a shot to the foot if they rescheduled all the races to meet that timeline because now you're fucking with 20 races instead of just 2.
No, I see your point. No, that's valid. I don't know. Hopefully, the world can figure its shit out before those races get here.
That's an entire other podcast worth of shit to talk about
Yeah,
there.
We don't really get political here at a hot lap, but man.
But when we do,
But when we do,
it's absolutely
uh,
stay predatory, my friends.
stay pretty. Tyler is officially banned from Hot Lap. This is now going to be a solo podcast.
Man, fuck you.
You've been fired.
You can't do this to me. Do you know how much I sacrificed?
I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed?
Literally. I'll be with this podcast until I'm 90.
Till you're 90.
Till I'm 90. I think that pretty much wraps everything I had to say up about, the whole Melbourne thing. I think let's jump into predictions. How do you see the rest of the year going for the team's cars, for the championship standings? How do you see this playing out?
I think seeing what we saw in Melbourne, just going off of that, because what we saw in testing, obviously some teams were sandbagging. Mercedes.
Yep.
I genuinely think it could be a title fight between Mercedes and Ferrari. The exact drivers, I don't know. But at the rate we're going right now, if things keep improving the way they are, I think it could be a title fight between Mercedes and Ferrari, which I'm 100% here for. Absolutely. I think that Cadillac really does need to figure out what they're doing. Because between losing the mirrors and just the car actually just shitting itself, it's clear they have some work to do. They have a long way to go. We didn't even talk about this. Arvid Lindblad finished in like P8. No, yeah, P8 I think.
Stellar. Yeah, I think he got like, yeah.
Stellar.
Dude, that was his first race.
Yeah, stellar performance from the rookie. I am very happy for him. For a rookie going into his first F1 race, that's pretty good. I'm happy for him. But circling back to predictions, right? I feel like Racing Bulls could be kind of the front runner of the mid pack. Especially if Arvid keeps his cool, doesn't let the pressure get to him. You guys might hear some thunder. There's some lightning outside. Anyway, especially if Arvid Lindblad keeps his cool and he doesn't start bottling, I really think he could be a front runner for the mid pack. Obviously, Aston Martin is Aston Martin. They're just going to be back of the grid. I think Audi could be right there with the Racing Bulls as kind of battling for mid pack, because they did pretty well. Except for Hulk Hulkenberg. Sorry, buddy.
Rip Nico.
But yeah, as far as actual title fights go, I think it could be a title fight between Mercedes and Ferrari. Maybe Red Bull, if Red Bull really gets their stuff together, fixes those issues. We could see Max dominance again this year. I don't know how likely that is because of the issues with the car. Well, both cars. But if they do iron that out, I think it could be Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes this year.
Okay. What about the cars?
I can't really speak too much on the actual cars themselves because it's still too new. There was a lot of issues this race, and it's clear that not every team has optimized their cars. It's very abundantly clear about that.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak too much other than we know the teams that need to work their issues out with their cars, but like Ferrari and Mercedes, they've got that ironed down. They've got it down pat. They're ready to race. They're ready to get it. I think McLaren's going to be kind of the back markers of the front pack of the front runners.
Mhm.
But yeah, as far as the actual cars go, I can't really speak too much on that. I don't have enough technical insight yet, but I'm interested to see what happens. I really am.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm thinking that actually, so the thing that kind of scares me about Mercedes, right? Like I'm a diehard Mercedes fan, but I have to like ground myself and I have to like not drink the hopium. Um, Mercedes won Australia, but they didn't win with flying colors. They won at a cost. Like they had to really fight for the win for the 1-2. It was not easy for them. It was not like McLaren dominance last year where like it was effortless and Lando got 30 seconds ahead of everybody else like in Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's effortless. Mercedes had to fight, 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 and they had to have their strategy on point. They had to take advantage of a random moment that occurred for them to get back on track to where they were able to fight for that 1-2 spot, those spots, right? Um, and even Kimmy on the team radio, they were asking him if he could stay out, and he was like, "Dude, no, these tires are fucking cooked." He did stay out, luckily, but like he didn't have a whole lot of confidence, staying out and, keeping up where he was at. So uh, it was very narrowly won. And it brings a lot of concern for me and Mercedes. I'm getting into my predictions in a second, but I just wanted to bring that up for a minute. Like, they need to bring some kind of upgrade to the table, or they need to look at the data and see where they could dominate more, because if they don't do anything by China coming up and Japan, I'm seeing Ferrari winning like the championship fight, at least right now, like where this is like this the direction is going in. I think Ferrari's more a little bit more put together because like we've discussed, like Ferrari takes less time to have like the turbo spooled up and like their engine ready to go at start. Charles Leclerc had 20% more battery life than George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Um, and they had good pace. So, I think it is going to be a silver versus red war for sure. But I think, like China, I see Ferrari winning. And it, based on what we see in China, my predictions will kind of change. It'll fluctuate. But right now, it's looking like Ferrari could end up like dominating if Mercedes doesn't like analyze where they were going wrong in and like take a good long look at themselves in the mirror and be like, okay, we need to lock the fuck in because we won, but we can't replicate that because they couldn't. Like, if you had the race start over and no safety car, everybody had like 100% battery, I don't know if Mercedes would take it again. I don't. I like there was things that happened that made it so where they were able to take it back from Ferrari because Ferrari just went right under them, took it. So that's where I kind of see the championship fight going. Will it end there? I don't think so. I think Mercedes in the end would take it. I think it'd be like middle of the season, Ferrari's leading it, and then Mercedes takes it to the end and wins. But it won't be without a very narrow fight, I think. Um, Red Bull, they're on the back foot again. They're on the back foot again, not doing too hot. I mean, the V carb is doing better than the Red Bull. McLaren also kind of on the back foot. They are both kind of in the same position. It's hard for me to pinpoint exactly like where they're going, but they're kind of like on my watch list. They're both wild cards because I can't really predict where they're headed. Um, Especially because we had a McLaren go out in the fucking in the recon lap. That doesn't give me a whole lot of data to go off of if I'm just looking at Lando's pace because it's also Lando.
Yeah.
Um, Lando, Mr. Bottle himself.
Mr. Bottle himself.
Yeah. So I think Aston Martin's development will eventually get them to get to a point where they can finish races. That's about it from them. Same with Cadillac. I think they'll get to a point where they can finish races. But it's going to be like a slop fest. It's going to be a slopathon between Cadillac, Aston Martin, and Williams fighting for the last place trophy. The mid pack, I don't really like see them. I see them probably going back and forth. You have Alpine, you have Audi. I think Audi's going to be more towards the top for sure. I'm kind of looking at it like Ferrari, Mercedes, probably McLaren, Red Bull, and then I would probably think Audi underneath that, and then VCarb, then like Alpine. Then after Alpine, Slopathon, but probably like Williams, and then Cadillac, and then Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to finish out at.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment, honestly.
Yep.
I like to have a little bit more hope in VCarb, because, I mean, the only thing really that new about Audi is the paint job. Obviously, new car, new regulations, yada, 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 I know that. But fundamentally, the only thing that really changed is the car itself, because the regulations and the paint job. Still the same drivers. True. That's why I said, like, the cars themselves changed and the paint jobs. I have a little bit more hope in VCarb, but no, we're pretty much the same. We're pretty much the same in terms of, like, where everyone's going to end up at.
Yeah. I think usually now you too, I think our predictions can get pretty accurate. Following the sport so much. So, I mean, like we always say, we'll have to wait and see. But
yep.
Shanghai's a little bit more nuanced of a track. It's not just straight line, turn, straight line, turn, straight line. China has that fucking bitch-ass corkscrew. It has a straight. There's like two straights, and then otherwise it's like kind of similar to Barcelona with like how its turn flow kind of goes. So, we'll get some really, really, really good data this coming weekend. And yeah.
Yeah, we were on the game last night. I was fighting for my life in Shanghai. I'm like,
yeah, no, it's pretty technical. It's a pretty technical track. It'll deceive you. But, you know, based on like the data, like I said, I think Ferrari could take it. I will be pleasantly surprised if Mercedes takes it. I just think because of like what we're looking at on the telemetry, Mercedes might not be as dominant because they don't have enough straights like Albert Park, like Australia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and even then, Australia, like I said earlier, like they won, but it wasn't in a replicatable way, and it wasn't by a large margin.
Yeah.
Compared to Ferrari, at least. Them combined, though, I think they were like 41 seconds ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, cause they definitely just went phew, like all four drivers just like really just took off. Everyone else kind of just was left in the dust.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Combined, I think their paces are fucking awesome. It's just compared to who now?
Yeah.
What it's gonna be like a track by track basis. What we're gonna have to look at.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I think this is going to be a great season. I think we're not going to see one team dominate over the other and it just get really fucking boring.
Please.
I think I have some really good hope, especially with, you know, overtakes going from 45 to 120. Like that statistic alone is enough for me to be like, all right, I can watch the races and not snooze anymore. I mean, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me too. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you guys in the next one.